I'm Jesse Mathews, President of the Alabama League of Municipalities and the Pro Tem for the City of Bessemer. We're going to start now to have our program of our graduates, CMO, Advanced, and Emeritus. And we are just proud of you for the dedicated time that you have put into serving your city and learning as well.
I want to add my welcome to you to this evening ceremony. I can't tell you how proud I am to have been a part of this program, the CMO program, for so long. It's a program with a very rich history. Including this graduating class, we now have 1,254 municipal officials who have received the designation of Certified Municipal Official. We have 667 who've gone on to receive the designation of Advanced Certified Municipal Official, and 51 that have received our Emeritus level certification. That's an amazing accomplishment for a voluntary program that you have to make the decision to participate in. You have done a tremendous job to get to this point, and you've really done a great service to your citizens and to your community back home. So if you would please give yourselves a round of applause just for getting here. It's my pleasure to welcome both our graduates and their guests to tonight's ceremony. We want you to be very proud of what you've accomplished. I do have a couple of housekeeping notes, though, to cover before we get started with the ceremony. First off, restrooms are located down the hall and to the left if you have not already discovered those. We do recycle our name badges. You've got the name badges there on you. If you, for some reason, want to take the badge home, the tag with you, we can take that out and let you take that home, but we would like the plastic and the magnet back so we can reuse that for another ceremony at some point down the line. Please drop those off at the registration desk when you leave tonight. When you get your awards, we want you to know that we do have storage boxes available for those as well. Don't feel like you have to take it out without the storage box to protect it. So after you've gotten that, please come back up front. We'll get a storage box for you so you've got something to transport it in to make sure that the award gets home safely with you. We will have a reception immediately following the ceremony. I hope each of you will join us. It'll be in the room next door. And I think it's just a wonderful way of saying thank you for what you mean to this organization. We do have some of you who were here for the Municipal Leadership Institute earlier who may not have gone back through the registration process to recheck in for your graduation. That's fine, but you will not have your CMO pin with you during the ceremony. At this point, what I would suggest is that after you get your award and that you get your photo made outside, where the photos will be right outside the door here. You'll see Kayla. Kayla, would you stand up and let everybody see? Kayla will be there taking your photo. And our president and vice president will be out there to take the photos with you. Once you've done that, if you've not picked up your pin already, please go by the registration desk, check in, and they'll get your pins to you. So we want to make sure that you wear that pin with pride because that's your way of showing where you stand in this particular program. Again, welcome to this evening's ceremony. It's an important event, and I'm very proud and pleased to be here with each of you tonight. Thank you. Sorry, the next part of this is me as well. And what I want to do now is recognize those of you who do have your pins with you. When you get it, if you have it with you, please take it out. It looks like this. You should have picked it up. So please take that out and remove it. The Alabama League of Municipalities is pleased to recognize your accomplishments in the CMO Officials Program. You have now completed 40, 80, or 120 hours of formal voluntary continuing education and have earned the professional designation of CMO, Advanced CMO, or CMO Emeritus, which sets you apart from other elected officials. Wearing this pin signifies public recognition of your accomplishment, and we hope you'll wear it with pride. This is not the end of your training as a municipal elected official, however. We've merely established a foundation upon which your future in municipal government will grow. Today, we're proud to acknowledge and congratulate 41 CMO graduates, 22 advanced CMO graduates, and 10 CMO emeriti. Mayors and council members, at this time, please take the pin off of your card and place it on your lapel. Again, congratulations for getting to this point and this great accomplishment. I would ask that you please refrain from taking photos right now. We will have an opportunity for you to take photos later. Individual photos will be taken after the award is received. Right outside the door, as I mentioned earlier, there will be a backdrop where we'll be taking those photos. Thank you very much for being here. And we're pleased, though, to have with us tonight Cristin Brawner, who is the Executive Director of the David Mathews Center for Civic Life in Montevallo, Alabama. Cristin coordinates the Mathews Center's signature programming, moderates deliberative community forums across Alabama, and collaborates with K-12 schools, higher education partners, and community organizations to facilitate active civic learning for young Alabamians. Cristin serves on the board of directors of the National Issues Forums Institute and the Alabama Communities of Excellence. A graduate of the University of Montevallo, Cristin has worked for the Mathews Center since 2011 and actually spoke to our group this morning at the Municipal Leadership Institute. Cristin is here to give the commencement address, and we're very pleased to have her with you. Cristin, thank you.
Thank you. It's a joy to be with you. And for all of you who were with us this morning, I'm sorry you have to hear me again. I hope I won't repeat myself too much. But when I get to talking about civic and community engagement, I do tend to beat the same drum because I get so excited talking about this. So it really is an honor to be with you today. Thank you to Mr. Smith and the League of Municipalities for inviting me to be with you this evening. And congratulations to all of you on this amazing accomplishment. You should have a lot to be proud of. This is an amazing night. Promise to keep this short and sweet so that you can get your award and enjoy each other's company at the reception. So in my role as Executive Director of the Mathews Center, I have the privilege of getting to know Alabamians just like you, who are making a difference to address deep-rooted issues, build on incredible assets, and engage their communities to accomplish great things by working together. We work alongside elected officials just like yourself who have made sacrifices to live a life of public service and servant leadership. For example, this morning I brought along my mayor, Mayor Holly Cost. She and I have worked a lot together on engaging young people. I've had the opportunity of hearing from Mayor Marks, who also has a youth commission, and I'm deeply inspired by elected officials who take opportunities to reach out and engage often unheard voices in their communities, particularly those of the young and others who haven't maybe had as much chance to participate in their communities. We also have the joy of supporting Alabamians who don't necessarily have a leadership title. There may not be elected officials, yet they dedicate their lives to improving their communities in ordinary and extraordinary ways. For example, I really love working with libraries. A lot of our communities have some of the best libraries in this state. For example, Miss Tina Nolan, is anyone here from Clay County? I'm gonna brag on her. I'll have to tell her later. But she is the director of the Ashland Public Library, and she is somebody who I think of as an Alabamian making a difference. She writes grants, hosts community forums, builds relationships with folks of all backgrounds, and works with persistence and tirelessness to improve the lives of families and children. All in addition to getting folks, including the youngest children in her community, excited about reading. Mayor Cost and Ms. Nolan and many others, folks like you in the room and folks who have never had a fancy title or been in a magazine or received an award or anything like that, inspire me every day, and I have the privilege of meeting them in my work. I'm also deeply inspired by the young Alabamians I have the privilege of working with every week. Young Alabamians who know that age is just a number when it comes to active citizenship. I've seen young people across our state accomplish great things, whether that's founding youth commissions or junior city councils, creating community centers, starting their own businesses, or volunteering their time to make their communities better. They and dozens of other Alabamians I've met through my work inspire me every day to work harder to improve civic engagement and civic education, and thereby the future of our great state. I've learned a great deal about what it truly means to be a great leader from these active citizens and engaged community leaders from across the state. And I'd like to share a few of the lessons I've learned about leadership that increases active citizenship and improves communities. So there's many forms of leadership. These lessons come not from me, but from observing brilliant, humble, kind, thoughtful, engaging local leaders, just like yourselves from across the state. Far be it from me to tell a group of seasoned leaders like yourselves anything about leadership. So rather than doing that, I'd like to share the following stories as an encouragement to you to keep on keeping on, or the following lessons. One of the greatest lessons I've learned comes from something our namesake, Dr. David Mathews, said at our latest Civic Institute in August. And for those of you who don't know, David Mathews is a native of Grove Hill, Alabama, in southwest Alabama. And he served as president of the University of Alabama starting at the young age of 33 back in 1969. And he also was the youngest member of President Gerald Ford's cabinet. He shared that a hallmark of a great leader is that they are a door opener rather than a gatekeeper. That got me thinking a lot in the past couple of months. What does it mean to be a door opener rather than a gatekeeper? My perspective is that rather than jealously guarding power and trying to make decisions on their own like a gatekeeper, a door opener pursues a path of servant leadership. They view their leadership role as an opportunity to connect their community and to provide possibilities for others to speak up and lead. Door openers work to equip and engage those around them for leadership. They see the potential in others, even when those individuals may not see that potential in themselves. Door openers seek to foster the growth and development of active citizens and engaged leaders. They focus on others rather than themselves, and they dedicate their lives to improving the community rather than simply their own self-interest. So what are some hallmarks or characteristics of leaders who are door openers? Well, 3 characteristics come to mind immediately for me. The most effective leaders I know listen well. They ask good questions, and they invite others to join them to work better together for their community. First, they know the wisdom of being slow to speak and quick to listen. Sounds like a proverb to me. It's tempting to speak first, isn't it? We live in a culture that does not always reward those who listen first and talk second. And all too often, we are guilty of listening in order to respond instead of listening to understand. It sometimes seems that everyone is racing to deliver the first soundbite in a war of words. Folks would often rather dominate airtime and control the message than find ways to work through an issue with those they disagree with. Our ability to speak immediately about any issue, potential policy, or community opportunity has grown exponentially in our age of technology, hasn't it? It's a bit terrifying to think of the sheer volume of communication that each of us engages in each day. In the cacophony of communication surrounding us, almost messed up that word, the need for more listening grows daily. Effective leaders realize that every person has a valuable viewpoint to share and that each individual is an expert on their own experience. Effective leaders make time to truly listen. So what are they listening for? Effective leaders want to hear people's stories. As they hear folks' stories, they listen for the values that motivate a person's opinions and the life experiences that shape their perspective. What is it that is deeply important to these individuals? They listen to learn and understand rather than to refute and diminish. They particularly make time to listen to differing perspectives so that they can make wise decisions after having heard multiple perspectives in the community. Effective leaders also know the importance of asking questions, which is closely tied to active listening. Leaders ask questions that elicit stories, that bring out those stories, personal perspectives, and the things individuals hold deeply valuable. They ask questions that uncover unique assets and raise possibilities. They also probe to discover and understand the challenges and barriers that make moving forward hard. They ask questions to uncover common ground for acting, questions that help their communities move from talk to action. Asking questions open possibilities, doesn't it? When you ask what makes this issue or problem real for you, you're opening up the door for others to be involved in defining the issue. Asking what can we do together that we can't do separately opens up pathways for collaboration and working better together. One of the most important questions we can ask when we're working with folks is who's not in the room or at the table. Asking that question and then working to get those folks in the room and at the table helps us ensure that we're building capacity within our community by encouraging all corners of our community to be involved. Finally, I think another lesson from effective leaders is that they understand the power of extending an invitation. This is the South, after all. We try to be pretty polite here, right? We often feel that unless we're invited or asked, we don't have a role, a voice, or power in our own communities. Leaders who seek to open doors work to unleash the potential within their citizens by inviting them to learn together and engage in the hard work of citizenship. I'm not just talking about inviting folks to city council meetings, community gatherings, or local events, important though those are. I'm primarily talking about inviting folks to become actors in the community. Too often, citizens in our country are primarily bystanders, clients, and consumers in our democracy, rather than the producers of democracy. Our democracy is an experiment. It's not in our DNA. It requires renewal with each successive generation. In fact, this morning during the Leadership Institute, we spoke about the tight relationship between rights and responsibilities and how too often we emphasize the rights while forgetting that those rights require us to exercise responsibilities for our active citizenship. If you're struggling to think about who to invite to be a part of good work going on in your community, because I know you're all doing good work, consider asking whoever has been a thorn in your side. Who is it that complains the most about a particular problem or issue? Perhaps that person would be ideal to include on a committee or in an action planning conversation around that particular thing. They're clearly passionate about that issue or problem. Why not use that for the benefit of the community? What I've observed is that when leaders listen well, ask good questions, and extend an invitation to others, communities thrive. Communities become leaderful rather than reliant on the charismatic personality and dynamism of an individual leader. I believe leaderfulness sets a democracy apart from a dictatorship, and I made this analogy earlier today. Dictatorships have strong leadership, don't they? But they just have one or two leaders rather than many leaders. And in democracy, we have many leaders. That is a hallmark of our democracy. We the people, right? As Dr. Mathews says, we don't need less from the people thought of as leaders. We need more leadership from everyone else. My primary observation from my travels and work across our great state is summed up in that quote. You, the leaders of our communities, don't necessarily need to be doing more. What we truly need is for a more engaged citizenry to take on more leadership so that our communities become stronger, healthier, and better able to leverage our greatest assets to address our most deep-rooted challenges. Effective leaders open doors to expand leaderfulness rather than keeping people out by guarding the gates in their communities. I want to applaud you for your leadership and encourage you not to take it all on yourself. Open doors, listen actively, ask questions, invite participation, and engage leaderfulness in your community. Best wishes as you lead your hometown forward, and thank you for allowing me to be with you today. It's been a real pleasure.
All right, good afternoon. With that, we will start our graduation. When I call your name, if you are able, if you'll come up the center aisle, you're going to come over here to get your award from Ken and Greg. And then after you receive your award, if you'll exit right through the door there where Tanae is, you can have your picture made with President and Vice President. The photos will be available on our social media platforms later tomorrow afternoon, where you'll be able to download your picture. I would ask if you would to please hold your applause till the end, and then we'll congratulate everybody together. So with that, let's start with our 2018 CMO Emeriti. Councilmember John Churchwell Jr., Penson. Councilmember Bobby R. Cook, Clanton. Mayor Alan J. Dunavant, Glen Allen. Councilmember Bridget Jordan Smith, Vincent. Councilmember Donald Dink Myers, Gunnersville. Mayor Johnny L. Smith, Jacksonville. Councilmember Mary Mel Smith, Clanton. Councilmember Cleophas Stevens, Chatham. And then unable to join us tonight, but also receiving their Emeritus Award is Councilmember Willie B. Sconiers from Andalusia and Councilmember Linda Kinnemer from Centerpoint. Now on to our 2018 Advanced CMO graduates. Councilmember Henry D. Barnes Sr., Bayou La Batterie. Mayor Rebecca Parrish Beasley, Clayton. Councilmember Will Culver, Huntsville. Councilmember Bilbo E. Johnson, Clay. Councilmember Walter B. Johnson, Sr., McIntosh. Councilmember Marquetta L. Madden, Valley. Councilmember Alex L. Mosses, Clayton. Councilmember Clementine P. Hugh, Georgiana. Mayor Scott Reeves, Hoax Bluff. Councilmember Robbie Roberts, Pinson. And then receiving both her her advanced and her basic tonight, Councilmember Jennifer Williams Smith from Jasper. Mayor Wayne Smith, Dadeville. And also receiving advanced and basic CMO certification tonight, Councilmember William J. Wisenhunt from Adamsville. Councilmember Ronnie L. Whitehead from Ashford. Mayor Ezel Woodyard Smith, Camp Hill. Is Mayor Smith here? There she is. And then also receiving their advanced CMO certification tonight, but unable to join us, is Councilmember Diane Ruffin-Green from York, Mayor W.C. Hayes Jr. from Maplesville, Mayor Earl V. Johnson, Andalusia, Councilmember Rhonda Lynn Landers from Phil Campbell, Mayor Yank Lovelace from Bruton, and Councilmember Tanya Moss, Creola. So moving on to our basic certification, our 2018 CMO graduates in the basic CMO program, Councilmember Roosevelt Adams Jr., McIntosh. Councilmember Paige Beebe, Decatur. Councilmember Feast Broughton from Bruton. Councilmember Carrie Brown, Bruton. Councilmember Audrey Colvin, Alexander City. Councilmember Kimberly B. Cook, Vestavia Hills. Councilmember Carl S. Flemons, Somerville. Did I miss that one? Councilmember Danny L. Garrett, Southside. Councilmember Frank Garrett, Ozark. Mayor Randy A. Garrison, Hartselle. Councilmember Gary Gibson, Ashford. Councilmember Bobby R. Hardwick, Daleville. Councilmember Mike Higginbotham, Homewood. Councilmember John Levon Hines, Opp. Mayor Terry Hawley, Florala. Councilmember Charlotte J. Hunt, Opp. Councilmember Dennis Locke, Clay. Hold, sorry. Sorry about that. Councilmember Joseph Labisco, Jr., Priceville. Not seen him. Councilmember George Mason, Rogersville. Is he here? Councilmember Deborah Hicks Milan, Union Springs. Councilmember Donna Denise Pilato, Notasulga. Here. Mayor Jason Reeves, Troy. Councilmember Gail Robbins, Florala. See, Ken told me you all wouldn't come down the center aisle. Look at them all. Councilmember Gary Strickland, Opp. Good leaders are good rule followers. Councilmember Janie Mae Thomas, Selma. Councilmember Kay Snowden Turner, Calera. Councilmember Lawrence Weaver, Bruton. And then unable to join us tonight, but also receiving their basic certification is Councilmember Jerry Kaler of Evergreen, Mayor Joan Farneman from Waterloo, Mayor David Hughes from Bridgeport, Councilmember Chad Jackson of Opp, Councilmember Rhonda Lynn Landers of Phil Campbell, Mayor John Laney III, Demopolis, Mayor Yank Lovelace, Bruton, Councilmember Ron Marshall, Bessemer, Councilmember James T. Moody, Smith Station, Mayor Larry Riggins, Westover, Councilmember Chris Shaw, Graysville, Councilmember Dana Schneider, Southside, and Councilmember Anthony Thomas, Monroeville. Please join me in congratulating all of our CMO graduates. And I'm going to turn it back over to Ken Smith, our Executive Director.
Again, I just want to say thank you all for your participation in this program. Its success depends upon your continued involvement in learning and taking the time to improve your own education. The problems that we have with elected officials don't come from those who don't attend the CMO program. Those that attend the CMO program that learn are the ones that actually are effective leaders back home. And you've all taken a giant step towards improving your ability to serve your citizens. And again, I just want to thank y'all for being here. Give yourselves another round of applause, and then let's go to the reception and have a great night. Thank you very much for all you do.